All right, I'm gonna try my best not to have a biased opinion on this movie, but I do have some notes here written. There's a lot to cover in this movie, so oh, I'm gonna start with the pros first. The visuals, 10 out of 10. The scenes that MJ was put in, and again the character building, and then the character himself, Michael Jackson, was beautifully made in this movie. His role, the actor, is amazing. I think it's Michael Jackson's nephew, so perfect adaptation of it. And the outfits were amazing, very accurate. And I think a very specific thing that I could share about MJ in this movie is that they do such a good job at kind of making him stand out in scenes and also blend in. As you know, Michael Jackson, although he wanted to be the best, he also kind of wanted to live a normal life once he got up there. And for him, it was pretty hard to do that. So he actually got to the point where he had to rent out a whole store so he can go shopping as like a normal person. He fits in perfectly in that scene where he's not popping out too much, so he kind of blends into his environment, and it kind of puts you in his shoes on how he wants to live his life at that moment. If you're going into this movie, you're going in for the singing as well. The singing is amazing. I'm pretty sure they did some mixing in there with the original voice, but the actual actor, I think, actually did some vocals as well, and it was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. No problems there. In this movie, they mainly covered up to 1988, so it mainly focuses on Joseph, the father of Michael Jackson, and their relationship, and it really shows the struggle of growing up in this household with Joseph forcing becoming a star on Michael Jackson and his brothers, creating the Jackson 5. For what it shows, it does a great job. All right, I'm going to get into the cons now. Hold on with me here. There's a lot to discuss on the cons portion of it. Inner critic is going to come out. I find this movie, convenient, or what is it? Quinigiringi. I find it to be more of a movie than a documentary of someone's life. I'm pretty sure the main target of this movie was to get his life out there entirely, just like the Elvis movie. The Elvis movie, if you knew, I mean, it won awards because it did such a good job in explaining Elvis's life, entirely till the end of where he died. This movie does not cover anything after 1988, so it doesn't explain anything else that happened, like the Super Bowl and beyond, what actually changed lives or changed his life, what was most important in his life. They did kind of throw that away. And at the end, I'm going to say this, at the end it says his story continues. I think that's a cheap way of just not doing it. The bond he had with children. I guess from there we're supposed to think about it and oh yeah, we had a bond with children because he didn't have a childhood. But it would be nice if if they explain it more. They kind of left it on a cliffhanger and didn't really elaborate on it. The same goes with Neverland. Neverland played a big part in his life, more than just a book. It played after, and he built an amusement park after it. There was way more after that than just a book and then a few scenes with a few children, and that's it. They just lacked a lot, and they also lacked his condition. They only showed a bit, one scene with his condition, talking about his condition, and that's it. If you didn't know, his condition affected his whole body, not just his wrist. I think they could have added more to that and kind of elaborated it and made it its own thing for a couple more scenes, or showing the progression of his condition getting worse. I think that would have been best. And not only that, putting on his story, it would also put out other people's story as well, because there's people out there that suffer with that same condition and they're not comfortable in their own skin sometimes. I do think the things that were said near the end of his life, the controversies of him, were entirely wrong. I think big companies would do anything to make money off of a big popular figure. I think Michael Jackson was legit. He was just different, and the world saw that as disgusting. At the end of the day, I think it's Michael Jackson was just he was just terrible at explaining himself, and that didn't help his situation ever. He didn't have that public mask, public vocabulary. He was kind of himself all the time, and again, we know he didn't have a childhood. Why would he want to act as anybody else if he can just act like himself at this point? He's freaking billionaire, no strings attached. The point that MJ wanted to get across was never displayed on the screen. Once again, MJ was silenced on what he believed in. Overall summary, is Michael Jackson the movie mid? I'm going to say yes. I don't hate it. I don't love it. But it's it's a solid movie. It's a solid movie. On paper, it's a solid movie. It's perfect. But when it comes to actually documentary or like just talking about his life, it doesn't cover everything. So if you are a fan of Michael Jackson, I do suggest going to see it. It is a good sample or a little demo of his life, you know, in movie form. If you want a sample of his life, go watch Michael Jackson the movie. That's it. That's it. Like, subscribe, and leave a comment on this video if you want more like this. I'm done.